A.J. Foyt, Indy, 1967.
And there's an accident on the front straightaway. There's 2, 3, 4 cars. Where's Foyt? I don't know whether he can get through or not. Another car hitting the wall, bouncing back across the straightaway. Foyt's only got a couple hundred yards to go. But there he is. He's going to get through. A.J. Foyt will win the Indianapolis 500.
Emerson Fittipaldi, youngest man ever to win the coveted title of World Champion Racing Driver. You see him here in his exotic Lotus, whipping through the streets of Monte Carlo during the Monaco Grand Prix. Richard Petty, humming down the back straight up the Daytona International Motor Speedway on the final lap of the 1973 Daytona 500. 4 times he's won the race. 4 times Richard Petty has won the NASCAR Grand National Stock Car Championship. First man ever to win $1 million in stock car racing. Mark Donohue, here winning Indy 500, 1972. Called by many the most versatile racing driver in the game today. Today you'll see these 4 champion racing drivers plus 8 other champions competing in the most unique automobile racing series ever. 12 champions driving identical automobiles. This hot Porsche Carrera. Every effort made to ensure that each driver will have comparable racing machines made especially for the World Series of Automobile Racing. The International Race of Champions. Premiering today on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Fittipaldi of Brazil, who finished in 12th place, this week breaks from the pole. Emerson Fittipaldi ran into this piece of misfortune last week as he had started a steady charge up through the field. The brakes locked, sending his car caroming over this bank, and in the process ruptured his gasoline tank, and he was the first man to leave the first race. But this week he breaks from the pole. NASCAR's Bobby Allison, who finished 11th in the first race, will start outside front row today. And Bobby had his moments of misfortune as well. Here a piece of bad luck early in the race for him. As he lost it, spun through the sand, and from that point on he had a succession of problems until he had to finally leave the first race. Inside on the second row will be USAC's Gordon Johncock. He had a spin and flattened his tires. Cost him. He finished 10th. Starting alongside Gordon Johncock, outside on the second row will be NASCAR's David Pearson. Lost an oil seal, cost him a high finish in the first race. USAC's Roger McCluskey will start inside on the third row, moving up to the 5th position from an 8th place finish in the first race. Outside, third row, NASCAR's Richard Petty drove a steady race to finish 7th, so he gains a spot in the driver rotation this week. USAC's A.J. Foyt inside 4th row, growing more confident that he can handle the hot little Porsche Carrera. Alongside A.J., outside on the 4th row, Denny Hulme from Formula One Racing. He finished 5th in the first race. Inside on the 5th row will be SCCA's George Fulmer. George bolted from 12th place to finish 4th, and in the driver rotation, he moves back. George Fulmer might have done a little better had it not been for this moment. In full charge, slid off the racetrack, did not actually lose a position, but he did lose momentum. He starts inside 5th row this week. Outside, alongside of him, will be SCCA's Peter Revson. Revson finished 3rd last week, so he's well back this week. USAC's Bobby Unser, the 2nd place finisher, goes to the back of the pack inside, and he'll be thoroughly tested there. And starting dead last will be Mark Donohue, the man who won the first race, and driving this week a battered automobile. As we look down on the Riverside International Raceway from the Goodyear blimp, I think you can tell it's another hot day as we go into the second race for our international champions. The automobiles are all Porsche Carreras, made especially for this racing series in Stuttgart, West Germany, and every effort made to provide racing equipment that is as comparable as possible. The pace car is now out of sight. We should get a rolling start as they come down out of turn number 9. The green flag is in the hand of the starter, and we are ready to go racing. Emerson Fittipaldi in the white Porsche goes out in front. Bobby Allison in the pink car is in second place. Gordon Johncock in the yellow car moves up now, and he may hold second place as they work their way through the S's. David Pearson's driving the dark blue car. Roger McCuskey's in the medium blue, and it's Richard Petty back there in the purple. And Jackie Stewart, as the field works its way, stringing out a little bit through the S's and heading into the turns. I look at your face, and I have the feeling you might like to be out there.
Keith, this is just the kind of motor race I'd love to be in, but as you know, I've retired from motor racing altogether, and as a driver, of course, I can't compete, but I would love to be in there. All the drivers are having such a good time that really I'm very jealous. As a matter of fact, Keith, there's one more thing here. There's a couple of backup cars been put in for this week's race because Emerson Fittipaldi's car was quite badly damaged after his small excursion last week, and in fact, the beige car is no longer in the race. They put a light green car in that Mark Donohue's driving, and of course, George Fulmer's now in a black car. These are both backup cars.
The field very tightly bunched as they head toward the straightaway.
Now, Emerson Fittipaldi's on the right-hand side of the screen, Keith. He shouldn't be doing that. He must have missed a gear change or something. It's slowing him down because, in fact, the field are passing him. 2 cars, 3 cars.
Gordon Johncock, Bobby Allison, David Pearson, all pass. Emerson Fittipaldi, and it must be the fact that he did miss a gear because he seems to be running all right. Those 3 automobiles did go whistling by him, and as they sweep out of turn number 9, the leader is Gordon Johncock, followed by Bobby Allison, David Pearson, Emerson Fittipaldi, Richard Petty, Roger McCluskey.
Both of them, 2 together, round there, side by side, very, very close motor racing. In fact, they're touching. They're really touched there. It's very close racing.
And in the process of swapping the door handles, Bobby Allison takes the lead, and Gordon Johncock almost lost it in the dirt. And he drops back into the pack.
Any small mistake of this kind, and of course you lose a lot of time, a lot of dust in the air there from the time that he did do his little sand dance.
Bobby Allison the leader, David Pearson behind him. Fittipaldi regaining third place, Richard Petty, Roger McCluskey, and Gordon Johncock. Denny Hulme and A.J. Foyt making a move up through the pack.
I'm a little bit disappointed here. I thought Mark Donohue might have made a move earlier, but in fact he's staying very close to the end of the field. I wonder if Mark's okay, because I really expected him to get up a little bit further, Keith.
As they again head for the back straight, the long straightaway, it's interesting to note that they averaged 101 plus miles an hour in the first race last week. The speed at the end of the first lap this week, a little slower, about 98 miles an hour.
This is, of course, not a real flying lap, so I think we're going to see the speeds going back up again. But, I mean, beautiful formation there. Mark's still at the back end, but up front there's good motor racing.
Bobby Allison, David Pearson, Emerson Fittipaldi, Richard Petty, Roger McCluskey, Gordon Johncock, Denny Hulme, and A.J. Foyt. Keith Jackson and Jackie Stewart at Riverside International Raceway in Southern California. The World Series of Automobile Racing. The International Race of Champions and 2 NASCAR drivers battling going into turn number 9. Bobby Allison in the purple car. David Pearson, blue car. Hit the brakes simultaneously. Pearson will have to back off coming out of turn 9. It's too tight coming out of that long sweeping turn, and Bobby Allison should hold the lead. Emerson Fittipaldi out of Formula One Grand Prix Racing is holding a tight third position as they sweep down across the start-finish line.
Fittipaldi's in a pretty good position here because he's in a position that if either of them make a mistake, he should be able to take advantage of it because these 2 are very close and obviously really playing Tiger.
2 stock car drivers who spent a lot of miles and a lot of hours battling each other, and they're as hard-headed as anything. And Pearson is off the track in the dirt. Allison's in the dirt.
They're both off the track, but they've kept it on. This is terrific. To be able to keep a car in this is great. Pearson's in the lead now, but to keep them together under those circumstances is really great.
Brute strength and leave a pall of smoke and dust behind them, and the rest of the field works its way through all right. So David Pearson in the blue car has the lead with Bobby Allison right behind him. Fittipaldi backed up a little bit that time, Jackie, I think, to give these 2 other fellas a chance to do their thing.
They're going pretty steady around there. Fittipaldi having a good long look at them in any case, which is what he wants to do. And 2 cars are in the boondocks. 2 cars are off.
That's Gordon Johncock in the yellow car, and the other one is Richard Petty. Petty keeps his moving. Johncock came to a dead stop. Now he gets back in, and you see Gordon's car caved in on the right side, so they will drop back to the last position. Gordon Johncock will trail the field, and Richard Petty will be running in the number 11 position. 12 champions, and up in front the battle continues with David Pearson in the blue car. In first place, Bobby Allison second, Emerson Fittipaldi, and the Goodyear blimp providing our view from high in the sky over the Riverside International Raceway. As a result of Petty and John